Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 with my continuing Drang nach Osten, my drive east. At least we hope it's a drive east as opposed to a fall back to the west. Last episode, we did kill the marsh pocket finally. Which will help us out tremendously, I'm sure. But we are suffering mainly supply issues in this area here. Fortunately, not so much down here, though we are having problems with some forces, like theirs about ready to get taken out. These guys have moved in just in time here. We're defending there. Let's move you up to the defensive there, I think. We're having a... coming very slowly right now. Why are we... Yeah, I should have enough supplies. Oh, it's this in red. Get enough fuel, we'll get another armor. Well, it's a motorized infantry division, but would be very nice in that front. So, yes. And I want to thank Sir Toyjet, Chief, Yogdog, Sircon, the Hoffmanator for your support over on Patreon. But everybody else, I just really ask you to hit that like button. And if you really want to help me after you get done watching this video, watch it again, but you can just turn the sound off and minimize the window, but make it another whole playthrough, not like necessarily simultaneous. I don't know if simultaneous would actually help, but if you wanted to just put it on, wow, those are some nice units that could be attached to somebody, but yeah, I don't know. Move them out here, supply problems. But just watch it, have it watched through one or more extra times would really sort of help out a lot. Can you blitz from the east side of Estonian pocket? Well, I guess you weren't around, Omar. I made it up to here and got pushed back. I don't know if I was there, but I got to here and here. Don't know, whatever. And they pushed me back. So, we are, well, actually, we've gotten in pretty good shape here, I'm seeing now. So we have gotten in pretty good shape. So maybe it is a good time to start this up again, because this is where we need to sort of push through. So good sort of spotting that. Do we have any armor units here? No. Well, we really don't have too much in the way of armor. So that's something of a blitzing out. But we could push there, though. Let's get there with that. Get out of the swamp there. Let's see if we can turn some forces around, and we'll put Litterman here. I'm looking for, okay, there's a lot of our motorized forces have shattered already, and are either returning to the front or got sent more over here. So let's see how this goes here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've won there. Yeah, we've won down here. Yes, finish coast. Okay, these guys need to get back to fully repairing. See, I could move these guys forward, but I'm just supply is the issue. Okay, they have supplies, so let's fly supplies to there. Currently, air supply to there. Interception tactics have advanced. That is under air, and oh, we'll let that continue. Yeah, I think currently we're just seeing that it would have been better to not have all these units messing around down here. Probably could have supplied things better. Okay, well, I think what we wanted maybe is come around south, maybe breach the rivers here. So let's send the Marines. Oh, wait a minute. Let's, before we move all these guys still reinforcing, currently reinforcing. Okay, let's stop you two. Let's see if I re-put that in there if we're gonna. Oh, good. We're no longer. Okay, good. You're no longer doing that auto reinforcing. Yes, whatever. Okay. One that never seems to stop. Wish my air would fly around here better and get better supplied. Okay. Well, we moved a bunch of air back here. Okay, that's the supply unit. No orders. No orders, right? They don't have any supply. Oh. Okay, you're not the single one. We want to find, there's one here that's that one flying. Okay, you're flying there. I'm going to retask you to fly air supply to there. So we get some of these fighters up in the air better, maybe. We've won here. Okay, so their attack against us here has ended. They're retreating. So, we have one down here. These guys picked up speed at all? Yes, because they're back at 10 kilometers an hour. Motor torpedo boat classes have advanced. And grayed out. Alright. And torpedo boats have also advanced. Well, let's fix that. Yeah, I don't know how much that's going to help. But hey, anything helps. Supply. Got our logistical warfare up. Here, this would help, obviously. But it's sort of late to do that now. Okay, we'll do this. I've been reluctant to admit that we will do better anti-tank to go slower. There's something here we could do to increase our speed, though? Probably not. Yeah, we'll do that. They're moving up into the... You're being hit hard along this front here. Okay, so we're gonna fall you back. You just attacked up into there, so we're gonna come back into here. Okay, they're coming back to their dam. Okay, well. Let's send you back this way. And let's send you down here. Maybe we can do some air attacks on some of these forces. You may be close enough. Yep, ground attack. Ground attack. Alright, probably two, yeah. Oh, we're doing port strike. Well, that's fine. We'll keep doing port strike. Maybe we'll get rid of some of those other units. Yeah, they're falling back. So what we're going to do here is send the armor unit that way. Okay, we've won here finally. Okay, good. That's... Hopefully we'll stabilize our front well enough. Where do we... Okay, yeah, we fell back from there, yes. Okay, we've... Yeah, that's what I was afraid of with Mariupol, so I'm going to cancel Mariupol. Just too many Soviet submarines sitting in there, and I don't want to keep losing my small number of transports that I have. Cancel convoy, so we're going to cancel that. Airfield control towers, nice, I guess. That was that one and done. Regiment Goering shattered motorized. Okay, well, okay, that unit just shattered. See, we have the Hermann Goering Brigade there. So what we're going to do here is, since this is back there right now, we're going to upgrade it. Keep Goering happy. And then maybe, no, not right now. But let's, okay, that'll probably disappear. There we go. He's already now in charge of this better division, better brigade. So we'll get that going east. I don't know. Well, let's do this. Hello, Nate. How you doing? You can reduce neutrality. Oh, that's another thing to try to get nations potentially to align with you is disrupt. Is to reduce their neutrality here. Isn't that a covert op? Increase threat. Support ruling party. I think it's covert op, isn't it? Right? Or... but I'm not sure. Oh. What? Where did that... okay. We had a battle out here. What the hell are you? Okay, you're shadowing. Okay, you're just shadowing these out. Okay. Come back to here. They'll do that. They'll find a unit and they'll chase it all over the place. Okay, how are we doing here? You can move into the vacuum. At least we took out some of them and not them taking out us. Okay. Well, there is, yeah, increase threat by somebody as well. That's another element of it. Okay, let's move these guys up here. Air supply down to here. Air superiority tactics, and we're going to let that continue. Okay, they're pushing us again. Everything out here is just because we don't have enough freaking supplies. Come on, save the day, get there. Well, we're slowly bringing down a lot of their subs. You know, that's the command for up here, was it? Okay, well, move you to Sutton. We have here our fleet. They can come back down to Sutton and pick up a couple of units and bring them back to Norway or Finland. Yeah, covert up on their capital. Yeah, that's what I thought. Something like that. Yeah, I have not built up any covert action points for any nation here, so I'm not prepared to do that. Not that it's a bad idea, just I'm not prepared. Okay, how is the supplies coming through? Not very well. That's Yeah. I wish you could see two of these at once. Let's add this and add this to our, let's build queue to the top. See, it's more of the, for me, it's more of the time it takes than the cost building them. Tibet is aligning themselves towards us. Okay, well. Yeah. Okay, well, right now this is looking fairly weakish, so let's try another. Oh, we just don't have the supplies again, because, oh, yeah, oh shit, we're here. Yeah, maybe we should stop this attack here. I'm shattering too many divisions. That's some of the problems with with this here. Okay, I don't know why. Who is going forward? Okay, well, let's just. Yeah, so blitzing is basically out. We might be attacking, but we're not blitzing. Division, that division. Okay, are the fighters here now? Well, somewhat better. Oh, you're better. Okay. We need to intercept some of these bombers. Yeah, shoot them down. Shoot them all down. Somehow we still sort of kind of have Kursk, but we just don't have any supplies. Do you like watching madmen rave about supplies? Well, we finally lost Kursk, but we got occupied here. And we're holding good in Persia. Time for the nukes, Arno? Well, don't have any. Okay, you guys can push in here now. Okay, doing okay there. Yeah, this is why I wasn't doing, we just lost another convoy here. Okay, I just don't have a lot of convoys, don't really need this. So we're going, oh no, okay, close, we want to cancel convoy. Nice idea to try to push there. I normally do convoys, but we just, I would say overproduction of submarines by the Soviets have made this area a bit more dangerous than I think it should be for supply convoys. Okay, we have, oh, pause. Have happened to us jungle effects. I'm not sure. There's even talk whether this is supposed to be display. I know it says red. I don't know whether it's really helping us or not. There's confusion over this. What of course have happened is our allies have gotten a hold of some territories out in the Far East, and it's giving us the reduced effects because of jungles, but we're not in much jungles, excuse me, so it really doesn't matter too much for us at this time. Sure, you can have energy, all the energy you want. Where to nuke? Moscow's the place where to nuke, if you want to know why, or if you want to know and why. It is the main central rail hub of the Soviet Union. So if you could destroy that, you've got it. You know, Hitler was, I think, actually for erasing Leningrad. It's a rather beautiful city. If you don't know, Hitler was nuts and a madman. And evil, too. And so I guess he saw this as too much of a Russian achievement that he wanted it destroyed, but they didn't assault it or anything, but, you know, they wanted it destroyed. But it's more useful to Germany if you can take it, because you can use it as a supply port very readily. Now, not in the dead of winter, it freezes over to where it's like 12, 20 feet thick of ice in the port. So you can't use it in winter. It's the same type of problem that you have with trying to get the iron ore out of here. Because during summer season, you can move the iron ore that's up. We can maybe see it. Resource mode. This here, I guess, is where it is. They're calling it tungsten, but it's sort of iron ore that's special that has probably a lot of tungsten in it. They can move it this way during summer, but during winter, my understanding is it's some of the rail connections here, but it's also as much as I think the port freezes over. So it is warmer over and never freezes over on the Atlantic coast. So they bring it out through Narvik, and half the year or more than half the year or whatever it is. So this freezes up. I don't know about Tallinn, whether it freezes up. That's, I think, partially why they wanted Henko out here for the Soviets, because they got this during the, after the Winter War. I think that was a year-round port for them, so they could base their fleet there. But when the weather's good, you can use it as a supply port, and that would help Germany. Stalingrad's a nothing of a city. It's not important. It's not important at all. So you don't want it. Now, the location is important, not the city. So, and I know, and I've watched just bits of it. TIK has done and is doing a very in-depth look at the Stalingrad campaign. But I will say this, and he may be, and he's looking at it, reading a lot of sources and looking at it better. But in my opinion, once the Germans were, because early on they push into the city, and again I'm getting this from like old series, old documentary series like World at War and whatever else. So I may be wrong on it, but I think generally I'm right. The Germans are pushing. They fight a battle somewhere back here, I think, and win. And then they're pushing, and they push into Stalingrad. And they push in pretty quickly. And then it gets a bit hard. And then they send a bunch more forces in. And I know I'm simplifying this. Send a bunch more forces in. And they get it almost like on this map here. They get it to where there's just a little bit of a pocket. They're finally almost winning, but the Soviets just keep that going. And then they crush around it. In my opinion, once they had any significant resistance, they should have stopped and maybe even withdrawn from the city, but then did an envelopment maneuver, because they were more motorized and more capable, and secure the area, not battle in the city, but surround the city, and then not do like a long Stalingrad, let's starve them out siege, which they might have been able to do fairly quickly, but then assault. Once you get it so where they cannot reinforce your fighting, then assault into the city. And they might have even withdrawn once they realized that they're being surrounded, but when they're defended by big ship guns, just stop the traffic. Yeah, exactly, Beam Slam. Not necessarily to take Stalingrad. And so you want to stop the traffic on the Volga, which was handling a lot of the oil coming out of the Caspian Sea, a lot of the other resources moving around. You want an anchor, as we can see here. This is desert. I've seen some train footage. A German YouTuber took a train all the way out to somewhere around here. I'm not exactly sure on the map where here, but it's several different trains, and so he did stop in Volgograd now, but he did stop there, and so there's trains moving along here, and this area is somewhat deserty, and the trains actually sort of avoid some of this, I think, but I don't know how severe of a desert it is, but you don't want to fight in it, and the Soviets or the Germans, in my opinion, again, I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, are not going to support multiple core size units supply-wise coming across this desert. I'm not saying you can't drive into the desert with them, but keep supplies flowing. You're not going to do that. I can imagine potentially driving out huge numbers of Kubelwagens or something, or the Opel Blitzes and trying it, but that would be ridiculous. And so, if you can secure, you don't have to secure everything, but you just shut that sort of Volgograd or Volga river traffic and cut the rail links down here, you've effectively cut off all of this down here from the Soviet Union. Oh, sure, because you're cutting off Astrakhan here, which has, because there is, this is all navigable rivers by small vessels, small ships, but small ships. You've cut that off. There's nothing. Back then, there's no real. I mean, there may be like fishing village ports kind of thing, but there's no real ports to support transfers of any amount of anything. Whether it's large numbers of soldiers or supplies or oil or resources, it's just nothing here. So it's the position, not the city. So nuking it doesn't matter because they could, meaning if you're not holding it, if you're way back here, just that big nukes go off, they'll just build around, lay some railway tracks or run the whatever ships along, barges along the rivers, maybe just get a little irradiated as it goes by, but as long-term stuff. But here, if you destroy the rail infrastructure here, there is sort of a greater ring area that they would be able to get around, but that would Kyrgyz states, Kazakhstan. I forget the YouTuber's name. He does a lot of travels by rail and sort of documents the stuff, which was really fascinating to see him go through it was a year or so ago he did it, go through this part of the Russia. Got to keep, what do I call it? Soviet Union, Russia, or whatever. But so, jumping, and so, and had you done this and had you cut here off, you effectively, because you remember that in my opinion, the only reason the Soviets were able to envelop, and cut off Stalingrad in the first place is that they were able to effectively attack from both the north and the south, or whatever you want to call the two fronts, the north and the east. I don't know, however you want to, along here. Had they just only pressed on one, if you're sort of holding, say, along here, Germany could have reinforced. Now, of course, Germany wasn't available to reinforce it at the time of the attacks, because all the German soldiers were more or less in Stalingrad, and it was the Italians, the Romanians, and the Hungarians primarily that were holding the flanks, and they are the ones that collapsed. So had you had some German reaction forces sitting around here and only been able to push on from one front, presumably the north, because the rest would have been sort of, the forces down here would have been tied up fighting with the Caucasus Front forces, whatever that might have been at the time. So Volgograd, the position matters, the city does not. The city is nothing. It's cutting the river. And you could come down here and cut it, if it makes sense, but it just sort of best the sort of the shape of the river to cut here. But just so long as you cut that river and effectively hold it. So, if you would cut, from the Don to here or something, and just ignore Stalingrad, just who cares about the name of the map? Just sort of hold a nice long line, or from here down to here, something like that, and effectively cut this. You've achieved the necessary results. That's what you needed to achieve. You didn't need to take Stalingrad. We use it, of course, for wargaming purposes. That normally you can get the Soviet Union to potentially, likely to surrender if you get Leningrad, Stalingrad, and Moscow in like the first year of your attack. That would be showing signs that the Soviet Union is collapsing. And politically, something was going on. Let me see. Man, I've had an idea that if the Germans take Stalingrad and hold it, and the Caucasus part of the Soviet army will not resupply, and Germany push Soviet troops to the Turkish border, what would Turkey do in this opportunity? Okay, Omar, I'm guessing you may be Turkish. Just Omar Sharif Kukuk. I don't know. Because you've shown interest in it. Let me just save this here for the moment. Give you a little background. I don't know how much you know about, and you maybe know a whole lot more than me, but about Turkey in World War II. Germany had a fairly good diplomat in Franz von Papen. Just for everybody out there, if you don't know who he was the Chancellor of Germany, lost the position, And then they held another election, and then when they decided to go, the conservatives, if you want to call them, the right wingers, decided to go into alliance with the radicals, the Nazis, the sort of the conservatives and the radicals. The Nazis are radicals. They may be right wing, maybe, and sometimes you can define. It depends on how you define right and left wing. The Nazis again, and I agree with TIK on this, that the Nazis are socialists. They're not communistical leveling socialists. You don't see me moving my sort of leveling hands here, meaning trying to make everybody equal. But they are a type of socialist. They're not a Marxist socialist, but they're socialists. And they're not capitalist with a... Hitler very much states he's not a capitalist. Hitler likes competition between organizations, whether within the government, between two government organizations, or between industries. He's not a central... Hitler is not looking for central planning that either communism or fascism does. He wants that competition, but he doesn't want capitalism. He doesn't like things like speculating on stock markets and whatever. He is a socialist. He is a, the nation owns the property communally, but individuals might have larger bits and pieces of it, meaning very rich people may exist in his socialist world, but it is socialist. Okay, so whether you want to call Nazism right-wing or left-wing, it is not conservatism. It is not German conservatism. It is not other, because conservatism is trying to conserve traditions, political or cultural or otherwise, of that country. So it would be sort of authoritarian Kaiserism, if you will, with all the different, kings of Bavaria and whatnot. That's sort of conservatism. And conservatism is Christianity, and Hitler's anti-Christian. So Hitler, the Nazis are radicals. Whether they're left-wing radicals or right-wing radicals, they're radicals. It's sort of hard to because some of their stuff is very left-wing, some of their stuff is right-wing. Or because they're hierarchical and they're nationalistic, where communists are not supposed to be hierarchical and they are supposed to not be nationalistic. Stalin turns on nationalism only once World War II starts. Before it, he's trying to erase nationalism within Russia, but as well as within the other republics. But he turns on Mother Russia and Russian nationalism once the World War II starts. So this is what, and sometimes TIK and others is talking about Nazism, and they're talking about what the Nazis do. Yeah, they do central planning only because of the war. Only because of the war and the pressures on the war do they do central planning, and it's under Speer for like the economy. Central planned economy. Hitler does not want to do that, but Hitler does it. Communists are anti-nationalistic. Stalin is anti-nationalistic. Stalin turns on the nationalist button and dials it up to 11, the patriotic war in Russia, and starts talking about Russia and Mother Russian propaganda starting in about 1942, really. You start to see he turns on nationalism, and he keeps it on at least true to the end of the war. I really don't know if he keeps it up afterwards. But so don't judge things, you can judge their willingness to use methods like killing millions of people, but don't judge technical elements of their stuff as to what they really want to do. So back to it. Franz von Papen, he's the sort of conservative nationalist, former Chancellor of Germany, convinces Bismarck to no, not Bismarck. Hindenburg. Hindenburg to go into coalition with Hitler, so long as because they don't always have a vice chancellor, but he'll be vice chancellor and really run things, and Hitler just gets to pretend to run things as chancellor. Big mistake. He eventually, once Hindenburg dies, his job is removed as vice chancellor, and he is sent eventually down to Austria, and I'm getting to Turkey, don't worry, down to Austria to be the sort of special ambassador to Austria to work to get Austria into Germany. And he does that. Austria joins relatively peacefully, gets the Nazis accepted. Well, and I forget the date, but he eventually gets sent down to Turkey to try to get good relations with Turkey and eventually get Turkey into the Axis. So he's a pretty good ambassador for Germany. Now, at some point, and I'm not sure where or when because I really haven't looked at it, but I think at some point Franz von Papen decides not to return to Germany. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I'm not entirely sure why he's doing what he's doing in his life. Franz von Papen, at least from what I understand, is a very strong religious Christian. He's a Catholic. That is one of the reasons he's sent as ambassador to Austria, which was German Catholics. He is sort of tied up in like the Knights of the Malta type thing, Catholic order. He's really sort of focused on those type of works. Now he continues, and Hitler is clearly a paganist. He's a neo-paganist. That's what I would call Hitler's religion, neo-paganism. But he still continues to work for the Nazis. I don't get it why he doesn't, go into exile. But at some point, I think he stops trying to get Turkey into. Now, there's at least one major assassination attempt against him in Turkey. And I'm not even sure who's really pushing that assassination attempt, quite honestly. But I'm pretty sure a couple of times he sort of requested or ordered back to Berlin and just doesn't go. He basically, I think, decides he does not want to go back to Germany. And so he rides out the rest of the war in Turkey and then faces the music after it. And I'll check out what you've been saying in the chat. Now, had the Germans taken the Caucasus front, what would Turkey do? Would Turkey join the Axis? Now, remember, and Aries, maybe he's been around earlier in the chat. I don't know if he's still here. Talk to him. Why the fuck did Turkey join in Germany and the Central Powers in World War I when they didn't even make their own goddamn rifles? And I don't even know if they're making their own damn ammunition, bullets to shoot out of the rifles, the pew-pews that come out of the bullets. I know they weren't making their own rifles. They should not have joined. The Ottoman Empire was a weak, sickly thing. Sorry if it's offending you. I know a lot of Europeans say that about when they say criticizing the U.S., and I'm not offended when they criticize the U.S. so long as it's valid criticism. Like, yeah, we're all fat. Yep, we are fat. But yeah, Turkey was just way too effing weak to join World War I. It was a stupid mistake. Well, the Ottoman Empire, because that's different than Turkey. I know it's the same, but it's different. It's the same, but it's different. It's very much a change in government and change in some definitions and whatnot. Yeah, I know the Turks rule both, but yeah, should not have joined World War I. A stupid mistake there. So obviously they played it smart not joining World War II until the very end and made sure they were on the winning side this time. So in World War I, what would they have joined? Well, it depends on when and what's going on. If the Germans had taken, all the way down to here and all the way to the border and holding out strongly in Stalingrad, but if the U.S. is in the war, America's back in, and if Britain is holding down in, even if they're just holding here, if they've lost, the Suez is sort of the, Italian, German / British front line or something, and the British are in control here, and the Americans are in the war, maybe we're getting ready to land somewhere. No, they're not. Turkey would not, in my estimation, would not join the Axis because why? What's the upside on them? They still don't, Why does Turkey join the Central Powers in World War One? Well, there's multiple reasons, but one of the aggravating factors was Britain was building one or more cruisers, big ships for Turkey, and one of them was getting near completion. And when the war breaks out, Britain just goes, "We're keeping it. Sorry, Turkey," and which pisses Turkey the hell off. And so this makes the situation in World War One not good. Well, when World War Two breaks out, and Germany, is getting ready, and Britain's going, "Oh shit, we need everything we can to be able to fight Germany. Oh yeah, we have this big contract for Vickers machine guns to be sold to Turkey. What do you want to do with them? Deliver them to Turkey." That was So Britain fulfilled its arms production contracts to Turkey in 1939, 1940 to make sure that Turkey doesn't get upset and maybe join the Axis again. So even though I don't know when they were sending it, whether it was post or before or after Dunkirk, but they definitely could have used the Vickers machine guns that they were making for Turkey, but they made them an 8mm Mauser, which was the Turkish caliber at the time. So Turkey is not making its own rifles in World War II. It's not making its own machine guns in World War II. Hell, it's not making its own artillery in World War II. It should not get into World War II because it can't do that stuff. It just can't do its stuff. The one automotive factory that's set up in Istanbul doesn't make automobiles. It assembles automobiles. There's Ford. Ford sets up an assembly factory in Istanbul. They ship over all the parts and they just put them together. And then that fails because there's not enough sales, and that the factory turns into just a repair shop. So yeah, they don't even make their own trucks or their own cars. So they're not ready to play war on World War II scales. So yeah, Turkey should not get into World War II so long as there is potential for either side. Okay. Oh, sorry if you already left, Lawless. Yes, have a nice day. So yeah, so my estimation is so long as now if it changes to what it's like now, we control, that sort of semi-neutral Vichy France, we control here, our allies control here, this is our puppet state here, these are our allies here, we're controlling Egypt, we've got Malta, we have not got Gibraltar, but maybe once we defeat Torch, and then if you get Stalingrad, not just battling down here like this, and if you get Stalingrad, yes, maybe then would Turkey join. But then, well, I guess only it gets out of it is just to be on the quote-unquote winning side when the war is over so that you don't get eaten up by the victors. I guess would be the only reason to maybe do that. But let's see what else. The Caucasus and Volga supply route cut off, the Lend-Lease supplies cut. Absolutely. You get so much of the... hello, Steve. Stephen, how you doing? Yes, there's a massive amount of Lend-Lease supplies coming through Iran. That would all be cut off. You would be down to the very limited supplies being mostly flown in out here, and to the somewhat limited supplies coming in up here. But there's a huge amount coming here if you cut this off. So there's huge reasons to take this. But the city itself is unimportant. It's just cutting the river. So if you cut it down here and can hold, that's fine. That achieves the goal of cutting off all of that. Maybe the part of India, maybe through part of, okay. I don't know. Just take the Ural Mountain areas. Turkey mobilize, maybe Germany and Turkey can destroy the Soviet army. Okay, I'm looking up there and seeing mobilized soldiers. Yeah, but it doesn't have guns. I mean, it may have the guns, but once you use up those guns, it has no more new guns. Rifles, machine guns. Turkey cannot make anything, and there's no problem to say the true Ottoman Empire is sick. Yeah. Well, yeah, the Ottoman Empire was a sick man. Very much so. Wow, Turkey... just really suck. Even the Dutch and the Belgians made their own. Yep, absolutely, Arno. During World War, it was just a mixing bag of old country items. Absolutely. And yeah, Turkey today, I forget what they're using right now as service rifles, but they eventually, have made copies of the HK G3s, the German weapons. Today they make their own rifles, and they've made some of their own armored personnel carriers, I think, and some tank models, rebuilding other things. Nowadays, Turkey is much more industrialized. Back then, during World War I and World War II, Turkey was not industrialized. And so, and I'm not, I know places like Iraq and Iran were not even making their own bullets, at least to any scale of, use in a war. Neither was Portugal. They weren't making their own munitions. They were importing them. I don't think Turkey was. So if the army comes into it, once they use up all their reserve stock of ammunition, Germany has to supply them ammo, like in World War I. To keep Turkey in the war in World War I, Germany had to supply them huge amounts of ammunition. Yeah, sure, it opened up a new front on Russia. It opened a new front up down here for, in the Mediterranean. It diverted a lot of supplies. But Turkey, the Ottomans, whatever you want to call them at that time, was just simply a more drain on primarily German industrial production capacity. It would have been the same ultimate long term, for Turkey. Yeah, they have man. Yes, they may have rifles that are, a mix of World War One, some new purchases in between the wars, mix of calibers. They might, I don't know if they had any, bullet caliber ammunition making factories, but even if they did, how fast do you shoot, bullets out of a machine gun? 600, 800, 900 rounds per minute. Okay, 100 guns shooting that kind of ammunition. Now, I know they don't keep them on 24 hours a day and shoot it, but still you shoot up huge, massive volumes of ammunition. So even if you do say, point to, and I'd love to know if anybody knows of a World War II, bullet making factory and could point, send me a photo and any sort of details about like how many rounds they could make a day. But even if it existed, it's not going to keep Turkey going grinding on a front like this kind of front. It's just not. So, yeah, Romania and Hungary are making their own guns. Yugoslavia was making its own guns. Czechoslovakia was making its own guns. Bulgaria, I don't think so. They were definitely making their own ammunition. So they had munitions factories. So they were an added element to the war that could do it. Now, if you look at like their tank factories in either like Romania or Hungary, they're like a building, and they're building 10 or 20 tanks at any one time, and they build like 60 of a particular model, where Germans are building 600 and the Americans are building 6,000 of a model of a tank. So yeah, they're building their own tanks in Romania and Hungary, but they're not building them on any scale. So yeah, to keep one armored division or two armored divisions or something equipped with tanks that are sort of out of date, yeah, they're doing that. But that's just one or two divisions worth of tanks that they're sort of kind of maybe keeping into operations. And that's it for these countries. Turkey, yeah, it's manpower. And that's all it is. And is it well-trained manpower? I don't think so. Not in a modern sense. Is it well-motivated manpower? I don't know what its the manpower motivation would have been in World War II. I don't know. So, Germany, I have some nice photos, is trying to get them in. They're, like I talked earlier about Franz von Papen. I think early on he's trying, but I think at some point, Franz von Papen, I don't know whether he recognizes that the regime is irretrievably evil, meaning you can't just like sort of, it's my country, so I'll help it out, and then once we'll have new elections, and then Hitler will go away, and we'll get a good leader again. No, it's irretrievably evil. Whether he figures that out, or whether he could be he sees that Germany is not likely to win, so he just stops trying, in my opinion. Though he may realize that he wasn't going to succeed anyways, but he doesn't go back to Germany and try to help anything in Germany. He just hides in Turkey. And so I think that's sort of the case in the situation. Hello, Challenge Boy. Gotta go, guys. Do hope things go well for you there, Challenge Boys. Turkey shooting without guns doesn't sound fun. Yeah, a little more without bullets. Turkey might be a source of resources, maybe even manpower, but without sufficient industrialization, it would nearly be useless as an ally. Yes, absolutely. Even now, okay, they're still using the G3s beam slam. I wasn't sure if they had upped their still. But everybody moved away from that caliber. Well, I think the American and most NATO forces are wrong. I know they're toying with new replacement calibers for 5.56, but I actually think since 308 is a wonderful caliber. I was talking with it yesterday with a few of the guys where we were playing War Thunder on our own. 308, I think, is a wonderful calibered bullet. And you need 308 for sure for machine guns. Yeah, you can do the squad automatics that are lightweight and shooting 5.56 or some other semi-replacement round for that. But you need some big 50 cals, but you need the 308 caliber. So since you're going to have the 308 caliber in your supply chain anyways, I think it would be good to have a battle rifle as well as an assault rifle. So I think it would be good for the US, for Germany, for Britain to still maintain and function battle rifles and 308s, whether they're G3s, FNFALs, or M14s, or maybe if somebody comes up with something new and better that's good enough. I don't know that anybody has that's, good enough better to go over to it. But, because, like the Israelis make, and I think the Finns did also, made a AK-like gun, the Khalils or the Valmets in the two cases, in 308. So you can do it in other calibers. But a battle rifle caliber, especially with the increase of body armor and ballistic helmets and types of terrain that can make battle rifles, because your engagement ranges will open up to longer ranges and not be close in. And I'm not saying, so I'm saying to have both types would be good. So higher hitting power, longer ranges, a better penetration through objects, all that kind of stuff. You need the 308 for sure in a machine gun. There's no sane military out there is arguing my point about the machine guns. And you still have people like the U.S. Navy today still using old M14s on board their ships because they want that extra range to shoot. These are not combat troops. These are sailors with rifles, sometimes to shoot at like sea mines out at sea, or if they want to shoot at small, potential enemy small boats like Somali pirates or Iranian, small boats, to get some riflemen out on the sides of ships. They want something to be able to reach out there and hit harder, and they're not interested in 223 weapons for that. And since they're on board ship, they can have a huge pile of ammo just sitting behind them if they want to. So, carrying of ammo weight, it doesn't matter to them for that usage. So they maintain the 308 rounds. So yeah, there's good reasons to have G3s. Now, whether Turkey should also have an assault rifle smaller, I don't know, because there's logistic issues and what should Turkey do with their, is it just too much to have too many calibers running around? Maybe for Turkey, like we're talking about how weak Turkey was in World War I and II. I don't know. Turkey is been having some problems down in here recently with some of their forces. I've seen a lot of destroyed tanks and whatnot. So, yeah, Turkey is having its problems. And I'm rather upset by Turkey's occupation of Cyprus as well. I don't like the Turkish government for doing that. I hate the Turkish government for doing that. I mean, I don't hate Turks. I hate them occupying Cyprus. I think that's wrong. So yeah, I have problems with the Turkish government, but current Turkish government as well. But that doesn't make me hate Turks at all. I mean, I just hate the government that's occupying Cyprus and doing some other not good things. I think Turkey do have more modern rifles, but still see the G3 sometimes. Okay, more likely von Papen, like other German leaders, saw the logistical and production limitations faced by Germany during World War I, doing limited research productions and the Allied bombing. Yeah. Now, what Franz von Papen may have been doing, again, I have not looked into as much, read really anything. I read some, magazine articles that had, 5 or 10 paragraphs on, time in Turkey, but I haven't really dug into him. He may have been just trying to keep Turkey neutral at some point, because Spain being neutral at some point means you don't have to defend Spain. And had Italy remained neutral, that would have kept the bulk of the Mediterranean neutral, which would have been less fronts for Germany to have to fight on, guys. So, yeah, it might be better to have, neutral positions here and here. That's why I've not brought Spain into the war, because it being a friendly neutral is better for me right now. So yeah, there's good reason for the German perspective, and there was a significant amount. I don't know the scale, but it was a significant, not just a teeny amount, but a significant amount of resource trading going on with Turkey. So that was happening during this time period. Well, I think we're going to end this episode here. A good little talk on Turkey and World War II, sort of timely. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all that made it this far in. See you next time for even more Hearts of Iron.